민족인가?
더 내 거야.
One night in Korea, there was a mysterious object that fell from the sky. This ball-like object then landed at a music festival. Arriving at the location, a larva came out of this ball and entered the body of a drunk visitor. A few minutes later, this larva turned into a parasite that controlled the visitor's body. From there, this parasite turned the human head. It controlled into a sharp weapon that could extend. With this sharp weapon, the parasite carried out an attack that killed many festival visitors. After which, the series storyline was pulled back to 1 hour ago. Here we are introduced to the main character named Suin, who works as a supermarket cashier. Suin then gets involved in an argument with a buyer named Kyung-chun. Because Kyung-chun does not want to comply with purchasing procedures. Wanting revenge on Suin, Kyung-chun ends up following Suin after work. In the middle of the deserted road conditions, Kyung-chun crashed into Suin and stabbed her back with a knife until she lost consciousness. Then when Kyung-chun was about to kill Suin, Kyung-chun suddenly died because his body was hit by a mysterious attack. Then Cholman police detectives got information about Kyung-chun's criminal actions and the condition of his body. It is revealed that Kyung-chun is a mental patient, and now he is declared dead. As soon as he finds out that Suin is Kyung-chun's victim, Cholman immediately goes to the hospital to see him. At the same time, Suin finally wakes up and is currently lying weak in the hospital. Here, Suin found that the knife stab wound on her back had mysteriously healed and only left a scar that looked like it was old. Not long after Cholman came to ask for an explanation from Suin about Kyung-chun's actions, at this moment Suin could not remember clearly about what had happened after she passed out from Kyung-chun's stab. Cholman then shows his attention to Suin as if Suin is the closest person to him. Well, it turns out that Cholman is a meritorious person for Suin's life, because he used to save Suin from his father, who likes to mistreat his son. Now Suin considers Cholman like his own uncle. Cholman finally left Suin so that he could rest while recovering his memory of Kyung-chun's attack. Sometime later, finally Suin returned from the hospital after his condition was declared recovered. On the way, Suin was followed by a suspicious man who seemed to have evil intentions. Not long ago, this mysterious man also blocked Suin, along with a woman who became his accomplice. In the midst of this tense situation, Suin had felt a strange brainwave that appeared briefly. The man and woman finally changed the shape of their heads into weapons to show that they were humans who had been controlled by parasites. At the same time, Suin's head also suddenly changed shape into a weapon, so that we finally learned that Suin was now controlled by parasites. Once knowing Suin's identity, the man and woman canceled the attack and invited Suin to join the Parasyte human organization. After the man and woman left, Suin, who was still under parasite control, met a thug named Gangwoo. Gangwoo, who secretly saw the incident, finally realized that his sister was now a parasite human. Gangwoo finally agreed to obey Suin's parasite orders so that he would not be killed.
알겠어?
A few moments later, Suin was finally free from parasite control and felt confused. Seeing this, Gangwoo finally carried out Suin's parasite orders to deliver a message to Suin. According to Suin's parasite message, Gangwoo states that Suin is a variant type of human parasite. This means that the parasite in Suin's body can only control 50% of Suin's consciousness. Now it turns out that this parasite failed to take over Suin's brain because his energy was drained to heal Suin's stab wound when he was attacked by Kyung-chun. This parasite also deliberately healed Suin's stab wound so that he could also survive in Suin's body. Then, before Gangwoo left, he also warned Suin to stay away from the human parasite organization, because according to information from Suin parasites, this organization must want to kill Suin because he is different from their kind. Then we are shown the action of the task force that struggles to eradicate a number of parasitic humans in a now flat complex.
동족인가?
더 내 거야.
After this extermination mission is successful, it is revealed that the Parasite Extermination Task Force is called the Gray Team and led by a tough woman named Jun Kyung. The next day, Jun Kyung held a meeting with Cholmin and colleagues from the local city police. At the beginning of this meeting, Jun Kyung congratulated because the X-ray examination photos showed that Cholmin and his colleagues were not parasitic humans. After that, Jun Kyung began to convey a number of important information about the parasites that have controlled the human body, while showing the body of a parasitic human that was successfully exterminated by the Gray Team. So based on the results of the investigation, this parasite has now spread in various parts of the world. And the highest rate of spread of parasitic humans is in the city occupied by Suin. Jun Kyung then revealed that parasitic humans will easily die when they experience heavy bleeding or their heart is seriously injured. For that, Jun Kyung recommended an air rifle as a weapon to eradicate parasitic humans. This parasite will also die by itself if it has left the human body that is its host. Finished conveying parasite information, Jun Kyung shows her husband, who has now become a human parasite. Here, it can be seen that Jun Kyung's husband's head is fitted with a helmet that can spray chemicals, that the parasites in the body of Jun Kyung's husband do not dare to fight. Jun Kyung also tells that her husband has the ability to detect the brain waves of human parasites, so that Jun Kyung's husband is now used to track the location of human parasites, because he has been attacked by her husband. Jun Kyung emphasizes that human parasites have lost their true identity because their consciousness has been completely taken over by parasites. On that basis, Jun Kyung asked the police to not hesitate to kill parasitic humans because they are no longer human. At the same time, Suin read a letter previously written by the parasite while controlling his body. In addition to telling the truth that had previously been conveyed by Gangwoo, this parasite also conveyed new information. It turns out that this parasite can only take over Suin's consciousness for 15 minutes, so this parasite will only control Suin when they face a dangerous threat. Well, during that 15 minutes, Suin cannot remember anything that has happened. That is why parasitic humans of the variant type, like Suin, are similar to people with multiple personalities. After reading this letter, Suin's mind became mixed. Because on the one hand, this parasite could be a protector of Suin, but on the other hand, the presence of this parasite also made Suin lose her life as a normal human being. The next day, Suin was visited by Chilman during work breaks. As usual, Chilman paid more attention to Suin, as if he had considered Suin as his own child. But behind all that, Chilman began to suspect Suin's changes since she survived Kung Chun's assassination attempt. Chilman's suspicions were further strengthened after he learned that Suin's stab wounds could heal mysteriously. Now, from this suspicion, Chilman finally made an excuse and managed to pull out a strand of Suin's hair, armed with parasite information. Chilman plans to examine Suin's hair to identify whether Suin is a human parasite or not. Chilman finally left Suin after he managed to get a strand of Suin's hair. Unfortunately, Suin did not realize that Chilman was secretly investigating him. In the evening, Suin was forced to follow the orders of parasitic humans to meet with the head of the parasitic human organization they called the pastor. The pastor's nickname was, of course, to adjust the organization's guise as a group of church congregations. Well, it turns out that the pastor wants to meet directly with Suin to study the unique talent of Suin parasites who are able to imitate human expressions. Arriving at the location, Suin finally gathered with many parasitic humans who were the pastor's subordinates. After getting acquainted with Suin, the pastor finally made a speech to explain the main purpose of the parasitic human organization. So when they just landed in the world, parasitic humans originally only aimed to take over the human brain and eat normal humans to survive. But since the existence of parasites was exposed by the Gray Team, parasites now have the main goal of surviving the Gray Team's attack. The pastor finally confirmed that the Gray Team's attack could be overcome if the members of the parasitic human organization wanted to unite and were good at utilizing their unique talents. At the same time, Gangwu is now investigating the group of church congregations followed by his brother. After learning that this group of church congregations is actually a parasitic human organization, Gangwu tried to infiltrate a warehouse near where the pastor was giving a speech. When he succeeded in infiltrating Gangwu, was surprised to see that this warehouse turned out to be a warehouse for storing human corpses that were previously killed by parasitic humans for food. Then, while examining the corpses, while avoiding the parasitic humans guarding the warehouse, Gangwu accidentally found the corpse of his younger brother, who had recently disappeared mysteriously. There is a possibility that Gangwu's younger brother was killed by his brother, considering that his brother is now a member of the parasitic human organization. Struck by the poor condition of his sister, Gangwu was immediately furious and dared to attack the warehouse guard. Gangwu's attack also caused an uproar, which was eventually heard to the location of the pastor. To stop Gangwu's attack, the pastor finally mobilized his men. On the other hand, this uproar was also successfully used by Suin to secretly leave the church. Soon the pastor's men faced a group of thugs who were trying to catch Gangwu. Then, while the pastor's men were busy killing the group of thugs, Gangwoo managed to take advantage of this situation to escape. Gangwoo then accidentally met Suin, who was also trying to escape from the parasitic human organization. Gangwoo and Suin finally ran away together and met Gangwoo's fellow thug named Cumin. After finding out what really happened, Cumin finally took Gangwoo and Suin to escape in his car. But on the way, Cumin suddenly betrayed and tried to kill Gangwoo for no apparent reason. The situation became even more chaotic because shortly after, a priest's men managed to find Cumin's car and attacked him. Seeing this emergency situation, the Suin parasite finally took over Suin's consciousness and fought against the priest's men. As a result of this fight, Cumin's car lost control until it finally crashed and got stuck on the edge of the ravine. On the other hand, the Suin parasite tried to lead the priest's men to another location so they could fight freely. Long story short, the Suin parasite finally managed to defeat the priest's men because it turned out that the Suin parasite was far greater than imagined. Then, before dying from the Suin parasite attack, the priest's men had time to call the Suin parasite a traitor for fighting his fellow man. Because the time was up, the Suin parasite finally lost control and returned Suin's consciousness. Meanwhile, Gangwoo tried to escape from Cumin's car, which was about to fall into the ravine. In the midst of this critical situation, Cumin finally admitted that he was trying to kill Gangwoo so that their group of thugs could make peace with another group of thugs. After Cumin died from bleeding, Gangwoo continued to try his best to get out of the car. Then, when Gangwoo was about to fall into the ravine, he was saved by Suin parasite. Meanwhile, Jun Kyung, head of the Gray Team, was busy examining a pile of case documents suspected of being related to parasites. Then, among the many documents, Jun Kyung accidentally found a Kyungchun case document involving Suin. With his ability as a crime science professor, Jun Kyung immediately guessed that Suin was a human parasite. After that, we were shown Jun Kyung's past before she became the head of the Gray Team and before her husband became a human parasite. So it turns out that Jun Kyung's husband turned into a human parasite while he was waiting for his wife to shop at the supermarket. Under the control of the parasite, Jun Kyung's husband attacked shoppers at the supermarket, including his own wife. Jun Kyung finally managed to stop her husband after she doused her husband with a chemical liquid. Since this terrible incident, Jun Kyung until now has been traumatized, which makes her suffer from sleep disorders. Switching to Suin, he returned to meet Gangwoo to discuss the incident at the Parasite Organization Church. Here, Gangwoo wanted to report the Parasite Human Church to the police because Gangwoo wanted to seek justice for the death of his sister. Due to information from Suin, Gangwoo finally contacted Cheolmin and reported the location of the Parasite Human Church. In this brief communication, Gangwoo tried to hide the identity of himself and Suin to avoid trouble. Now Gangwoo began to befriend Suin as a form of reciprocation, and also because they both did not have parents. Then Cheolmin began to process Gangwoo's report after he got evidence that Gangwoo's report was proven valid. Cheolmin then went to see Jun Kyung to inform Gangwoo's report after listening to this report. Jun Kyung asked Cholman about Suin, as if to protect Suin. Cholman finally stated that he had tested Suin's hair and found nothing unusual. But from Cholman's expression and gesture, Jun Kyung could tell that Cholman was lying. A few hours later, Jun Kyung finally mobilized the Grey Team to raid the church of the Parasitic Human Organization. This raid was also carried out by the Grey Team, along with Cholman's police force to make it more effective. During the sweeping process, the Grey Team found that all members of the parasitic organization had left the church. They also found a warehouse storing normal human corpses that had been fed to parasitic humans. At the same time, Cholman checked the church and found the keychain that he had previously gifted to Suin. Cholman immediately hid Suin's keychain so that it was not known by Jun Kyung. But unfortunately, Jun Kyung has secretly seen this incident, so that Jun Kyung now begins to investigate Cholman in secret. Then Jun Kyung assigns the police to investigate Hyukju, who is the manager of the church. Here we finally find out that the figure called the priest by the parasitic human organization is Hyukju, considering that Hyukju is currently missing. Jun Kyung also becomes convinced that Hyukju has become a parasitic human. Meanwhile, Wonsuk fellow detective Cholman secretly meets with Hyukju. From here, it is revealed that all this time Wonsuk has been secretly spying on the Parasyte human organization. Thanks to Wonsuk's information, the Parasyte human organization managed to escape before their church was raided by the Grey Team. Hyukju, as the head of the Parasyte human organization, finally ordered Wonsuk to kill Jun Kyung's husband. The goal is that Jun Kyung loses the way to track down the Parasyte human organization. Sometime later, Suin and Gangwoo meet Cholman in an abandoned amusement park. In this secret meeting, Gangwoo intends to ask Cholman about the progress of the Parasyte human church investigation. But before that, Cholman first asked about Suin's keychain, which was secretly being carried by Cholman. After Suin stated that her keychain was gone, Cholman was finally able to confirm that Suin had been at the church. Because of that, Cholman urged Suin to tell the incident at the church, while asking why exactly Suin was acting suspiciously. When Suin couldn't tell the truth because of the dilemma, Jun Kyung finally appeared after she had been secretly following Cholman. Seeing Jun Kyung and Cholman starting to suspect Suin, Gangwoo immediately launched an attack that managed to distract them. Gangwoo and Suin then hid in a haunted house in the amusement park. Then when Jun Kyung came to kill Suin, the Suin parasite finally took over Suin's consciousness to overcome the dangerous threat. On the orders of the Suin parasite, Gangwoo finally escaped first and waited for Suin at a predetermined location. Long story short, the Suin parasite managed to paralyze Jun Kyung and immediately fled to catch up with Gangwoo. But unfortunately, the Suin parasite was surrounded by the Grey Team, so that the Suin parasite finally released control and returned Suin's consciousness. At the same time, Jun Kyung, who has risen, must immediately meet her husband, who is not far from the location, because Jun Kyung's husband continues to send distress signals. Jun Kyung finally found her husband dead. Jun Kyung did not yet know that her husband had been killed by Wonsuk. When Jun Kyung and the Grey Team were focused on hunting down Suin, with the death of her husband, Jun Kyung now loses the tool to track the location of parasitic humans and their organizations. As a solution, Jun Kyung finally moves her husband's special helmet to Suin's head so that Suin can become a new tracking device. And the series Parasyte the Gray episode 1 to 3 is finally finished. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next storyline.